This is Pete with Zengig, and I'm joined today by Ricky Baez, an HR consultant with more than 20 years of professional experience. So let's start at the top, Ricky. What is an HR manager?
So an HR manager is essentially, at the end of the day, an HR manager is the liaison between the talent of the organization and the organization. They do a lot of different things for the organization. They oversee recruitment, they oversee onboarding, they oversee benefits, all these different things that fall under that umbrella. That's what they do. So they're a higher level type of leadership position for all aspects of human resources.
Wonderful. So, how do you get into that role, Ricky? If you want to pursue this profession, how do you become an HR manager?
Well, Pete, you know what? It's in a perfect world, people would show up to any organization, say, I want to be a HR manager, and poof, there it is. Well, it doesn't really work that way. You have to build experience. You have to build a background that's a combination of experience and education. Let me start with the experience first. You have to start obviously at the bottom, as you can for any organization, right? HR specialist, HR admin, HR coordinator, all those things that will give you some insights of different aspects of human resource and become an expert at that. And then you can move your way up from there.
Wonderful. What about education? Any specific requirements there?
Yes. So from a classic educational perspective, like a bachelor's degree, it has to have a foundation on either business and employment and labor law. I will lean more to the employment and labor law piece because a lot of I would be hard pressed to find any HR profession when you don't take a look at or touch anything with employment and labor law. So that has to be the foundation of it.
Okay, wonderful. Get your degree. That's the answer here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Get your degree. I mean, and in some cases, obviously, some organizations would accept experience in lieu of a degree, but a degree is the best way to get in.
Perfect. Now, Ricky, let's talk about the traits and skills that are necessary for someone to have a successful career as an HR manager.
So, some of the top skills for an HR manager, obviously, you have to have your communication skills honed in. They have to be in there because you're going to connect with a lot of different employees with different walks of life, with different points of view. And your communication skills have to be flexible enough to be able to connect with those employees. Organization skills is crucial because you're dealing with a lot of different departments, different responsibilities. So you have to be able to organize those skills. Leadership, I mean, it's you have to be able to take in any information, process it, and push back and give your perspective from a legal point of view and ethical conduct. Pete, that one is huge, especially when you're dealing with business and employment and labor law. The ethical piece is huge. You got to be technologically savvy. Right? We're in 2024 right now, Pete. Right, and there's some tools today that were not available 20 years ago. Like right now, look at how you and I talking right now with a video conferencing. This is one of the things that people have to know. But Pete, from my perspective, to be honest, the most important one above and beyond your communication skills is understanding human behavior. That one is key. Your emotional intelligence meter should be through the roof when it comes to this. So absolutely those traits, but to be my favorite one is the human behavior piece.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks for that great answer. This is in parts to human resources. If you can, describe what a typical day in the life is for an HR manager.
Well, Pete, it's whether you're dealing with a recruitment concern, a compensation and benefits concern, it really doesn't matter. These are all the different things that could pop up at any time of the day, right? Because you can put together a list of things you need to do for the next day, but then some things may come up to the top. That's an emergency. But you could deal with labor relation laws. You could deal with sexual harassment issues. You could deal with compensation, and not only to the employees you support, your own employees as well. Right. So you have to deal with your own employees, everybody else's employees, but no one day is the same as the next. And that's the only one of the few things why I love what I get to do is not knowing what's going to happen that next day. So there's a lot that can happen.
So when you're in the world of people, the possibilities are limitless, right?
Limitless, and the entertainment factor is through the roof. Tell you
Maybe
that.
so that's a story for another day. You'll have to
Yes,
check
sir.
back with that one for
Yeah.
that one later. Well, Ricky, we know that there's so many moving parts we just talked about. There's specialties that exist too within the umbrella of HR management. Could you talk a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So, it's as you grow with any organization grows, right? The need for the specific department grows as well, right? So, you can have a talent acquisition manager because maybe you work for an organization that have thousands and thousands and thousands of employees. Let's say it's an organization that has 100,000 employees. You're not going to recruit with just two people. Right, you're going to need an entire division, right? So you can have a talent acquisition manager, and then continuing on with that same rationale, you've got your compensation and benefits manager. That's what they focus on. Training and development. And if you deal with unions, if you're large enough where you deal with unions, you will need a labor relations director. And the more people you have, the more information you have to manage. So you also have the HR information systems manager. The bigger the organization, the more detail you have to be in the different responsibilities of HR and the more leadership you're going to need there. So those are just a few of the ones that exist out there today.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we have to I have to ask about HR. I have to ask about AI.
Okay.
It's everywhere today. It's growing.
Yeah.
AI is becoming more prevalent. How do you see artificial intelligence impacting the future of human resources management?
If I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me this question, Pete, I wouldn't be on a podcast. I'll be having the private jet just waiting for me right now. So look, AI, it's artificial intelligence is a double-edged sword. So let me give you my HR director's perspective, right? It is an amazing tool. It helps me, it helps my team, it helps me better take care of my clients, right? Now that's from my perspective. From my customer's perspective, right? It could be a downfall, right? Because the more it gets, look, we're in 2024, right? We have a lot of different tools right now, and AI is becoming a thing now. Actually, take it back. It is a thing now, and it's only going to get better. So, as we continue on, more organizations, in order to be efficient, they're going to implement more AI type of tools and tricks to help organizations. But what happens, Pete, is our customers are human beings, right? They are human beings. So when human beings have human issues, you're going to need a human being to help you with those issues. One great example, if somebody gets sexually harassed or somebody gets discriminated against or they're being bullied at work, the last thing they want to talk to is an HR is an AI automated system to try to
Right?
help them through that process, right? So to me, from an HR perspective, the key is balance. What can you use to help the organization be more efficient, but at the same time keeping the human touch that keeps the employees there for the right reason? So it's a balance act.
Wonderful. So we have to embrace AI. It's here, but the profession, the outlook is good.
Oh,
No,
it is.
it's not going to replace humans, right?
I mean, I don't know. Terminator can tell us about that, right? So I've always said the movie Terminator has become more and more of a documentary today than ever before. Yes, the key is balance. The key is balance, and we have to pay attention to that because very easily we can fall into the rut. Is let's be as efficient and possible. Let's be as efficient as possible. But then if you do that with blinders on, you really forget about the human touch that really helps employees in any organization.
That makes sense. So, Ricky, for anyone who's early in their career, starting out in school, they're looking at the position of HR management and thinking they may want to enter into it. What would surprise someone from the outside once they get into the role about being an HR manager?
What would surprise people who are not in the role? Just when you think you've seen humans cannot go any further, you're surprised every single day. Just when you think you've seen all the stories, all the issues, all the drama, all the hilariousness, something else tops it. So if there's anything that I can put out there is don't it's be ready for surprises. Be ready for surprises because as soon as you start thinking I have not have seen that all, something else will top it. So that keeps me on my toes, and I'm not gonna lie, it keeps the job fun. That's why I like it, right? So that's why I got into it. Now, let me say this, Pete. If you're somebody who doesn't like change, if you're somebody who likes a specific thing the same day, day in, day out, then HR manager or the HR field in general is not for you. It would not, right? You have to be okay with change. You have to be okay with pivoting on a dime because that is what a successful HR leader can do.
So if you want to enter into HR management, expect the unexpected. That's
Absolutely.
the deal. All right,
I
that
still
makes
have that
sense.
tattoo on my back.
If you do, keep it to yourself. But so last question, Ricky, for anyone who's considering entering into HR, what career advice would you give?
Here's the best advice I can give people. And this is something I wish I did, Pete. This is something I wish I did when I first started. Go on LinkedIn, network like crazy. Find somebody who's in the position right now and engage with them and ask them, hey, I'm looking to get into the position. I'm trying to understand the ins and outs. Do you mind if I shadow you for an hour? Right? That is invaluable information because you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of the role, right? Those last two are important to know because you cannot let the good overshadow everything else, right? Good, bad, and the ugly. Each one represents 33.33% of the equation, right?
Sure.
So you cannot let the 66 or the 33% overshadow the other 66. So I would advise for you to go shadow somebody who's doing it right now and tell them, be honest with me. Don't talk me out of the role. As a matter of fact, talk me out of the role. Show me everything about this role. That way I can make an informed decision if this is what I want to invest in for the next 30 years. So find somebody who's able to show you, open up the curtain of what it really means to be an HR manager. That is the best education that you could possibly get for you to make a decision of whether this is a career path that's right for you.
Wonderful. Well, Ricky, thank you so much for your insight and your expert knowledge today. Really appreciate it. If you've been listening, hopefully you feel better prepared to become an HR manager. Good luck and happy hunting.
Have a good one, folks.